As head of the photo and graphic team, I am responsible for internal and external photo and graphic productions. Already during my apprenticeship, I was able to work in this team and was able to take up this position directly after my apprenticeship. This was possible thanks to our innovative apprenticeship program. Now, let's see how that works.
Swisscom's vocational training model is innovative and unique. We have around 900 apprentices in 7 professions, and they all design their apprenticeship themselves. From the first day to the last, they spend their apprenticeship in different projects. These are real projects that are advertised by all Swisscom employees on an electronic marketplace. Depending on their chosen profession profile, the apprentices search for and apply for the projects that suit them best. Once they've been accepted, they work on the project for the defined time. This enables them to develop their skills in a practical and action-oriented manner. Our apprentices spend their apprenticeship on different projects, but also on different locations and in different teams. This requires a certain amount of independence, curiosity, flexibility and courage. And that's why the apprentices are supported throughout their apprenticeship by a vocational coach. With the right questions and targeted support, the vocational coach challenges and encourages the apprentices in such a way that they can develop into independent thinking and acting personalities.
Our training model consists of 3 elements: market-driven instead of preordained, learning and working in projects, and coaching. The apprentices select the projects on the marketplace, which allows them to acquire the skills they need in practice. They will learn and work from the very beginning in real business projects and thus acquire the necessary skills in a practice-oriented manner. The coaches accompany the apprentices in their personal development process and enable them to design their own learning path. There are 3 roles in our training model: the apprentices, the project providers, and the coaches. The apprentices are the drivers in the system. They choose suitable projects in which they acquire the required competencies. In collaboration with their coach, they regularly reflect on their competencies and experiences and document them on an ongoing basis. The project providers tend to projects in which the apprentices can acquire competencies and gain practical experience. They help the apprentices to build technical competencies. The coaches accompany the apprentices through the apprenticeship in their personal development process and also support the apprentices in competence management.
Being an apprentice at Swisscom, I'm able to work in different projects. These projects can be found on the marketplace. You can set filters, for example, by the field of activity, the time period and the location. Because all of the Swisscom apprentices are on the same platform throughout all of Switzerland, it also allows me to apply for a project in another language area. This means that in addition to improving my skills, I can also deepen my knowledge of a language. Here's an example of a project. First, you have a short description of the project. Then you see some of the skills you should already be able to do. And up here, you can see all of the skills you can acquire when you're working in this specific project. What also matters is that the fields of activity have nothing to do with my job description, because neither the year of study nor the profession I'm learning is important, because all of the projects are based on skills. If I like the project, I can apply up here, and this is basically how I use the marketplace.
The apprentices regularly change their projects. The power for a new project is the curiosity and the will of the apprentice. The apprentices inform themselves on the marketplace and select suitable projects in which they can learn the required skills. They apply for suitable projects and choose a project or are recruited for a project. The project starts and they learn and work in the project. During the project, regular meetings take place between the apprentice, the project provider, and the coach. At the end of the project, the apprentices evaluate their acquired competencies and reflect on the project. The coaches support them in this process. New interests for further projects emerge from the findings and the process begins again.
During my apprenticeship, I had the opportunity to gain some insights into the recruiting process. In a project at the Junior Center, I've recruited our new apprentices as well as checked their applications and planned and conducted the online interviews. I also had the chance to plan our Junior Talent Days. Those are trial days with various positions, including a job interview at the very end of the day. I am spending my last few months of my apprenticeship at Kickbox, which is a startup who enables basically everyone to build their dream jobs and found their own startup. My main tasks are designing web assets as well as print assets. Also, I am creating multimedia content for our Instagram channel. I've gained insights into the topic of innovation in the last few months as well as improved my graphic skills.
At the moment, there are 2 apprentices working in my team. The advantage for me is clearly that the apprentices who come to my team are highly motivated for the subject area because they have chosen it themselves. Every 6 months, the apprentices change, and so there is always a fresh breeze in the team.
My job as a vocational coach is to take the apprentice by their hand from the very beginning of their apprenticeship, so-called first steps, until the end of their apprenticeship when they get their degree. The job involves 3 different roles. The first role is the line manager or the disciplinary superior, where we check the guidelines, check the restrictives of the apprentice, and we are also the connection link between the school, the parents and the authorities. The second role is the ambassador to get new learning projects. We use our internal network to get new projects on our marketplace. The third role and the main task is the coach. As a coach, I don't give any tips and recommendations. I ask them questions to develop their own learning path. The apprentices work in their learning projects. The project owners are responsible to make the transfer of their knowledge. The coach, on the other hand, is the person of trust in our vocational training. The start in the apprenticeship can be a huge stress. A full week with school, work, homework. In these situations, it's important to have somebody to talk to. In several bilateral meetings, we set goals and calibrate them during the year to reach the goals at the end of the apprenticeship.
Today's working world is dynamic and constantly changing. Pure knowledge is freely available anytime and anywhere. And at the same time, the half-life of technical skills is becoming shorter and shorter. Accordingly, lifelong learning today is much less a goal than a necessity. It requires redefining and adapting both the type of collaboration and the type of learning. This is exactly why we rely on a self-directed and project-based vocational training model. Our apprentices learn and work on the job on real business projects and thus support the different teams in the line. In this way, they continuously develop their professional skills as well as the personal, social and methodological competencies. And this is exactly what makes the apprentices fit for the job market and ready for the working world of the future.
As a teenager, it was important for me to take responsibilities and make a difference. Swisscom gave me exactly those opportunities, and now I'm the leader of the photo and graphics team. So more than I ever expected.
La la la.